What's an innocent crime that people commit? Here in Japan, it's illegal to hand your neighbor's misaddressed mail to them. In practice, we all do it. Are you supposed to return to sender or post office instead? To the post office. I simply hand it over to the neighbor if I know them, or leave it in their mailbox. I just clip mine onto the outside of my mailbox and let them pick it up the next day. One time, this big envelope came that was for one of my neighbors. It was the same one I got when I got a new passport. They were probably shitting themselves seeing the tracking say it was delivered and not getting it. Apparently being 5 years old and having a lemonade stand right to jailed for tax evasion, and not registering their business as a legal entity. Get on the ground, scum. In Sweden, if a stone anywhere has ever been moved by a human and then left in the new place for more than 12 months, it is illegal to move that stone again because it has become a cultural artifact. This absurd law is actually enforced and creates a lot of problems for the people living in countryside. But since laws are written by people in the cities, it is not seen as a problem. The original reason for the law is to protect centuries-old stone walls. But because of how it is written, it is used against people who, for example, temporarily move a stone to be able to reach that area. If the work is not finished within 1 year, and the stone has not been moved in the meantime, it is then illegal to move it back. Very innocent crime. Not a very innocent law, though. Piracy for their own use, especially when the original content isn't even available legitimately anywhere. When companies are destroying the only legitimate copies of media as a tax write-off, piracy is not only ethical, but the only way to prevent these shows and movies from becoming lost media. Remember, there are entire old TV series, entire networks worth of content even, that only exist now in off-air recordings that have been copied, traded, ripped, and uploaded. I would argue that if the copyright holder cannot produce a copy of the work, then the work has entered the public domain, picking up bird feathers. Obviously, it's not really a crime, but under the Migratory Bird Act, because you can't prove where you got it from, you also can't prove that you didn't poach it. It was made in response to massive bird poaching around the turn of the 1900s for women's hats, but also massive amounts of bird hunting in general, which was causing the severe decline in hundreds of species. After all, we know what happened to the passenger pigeons. As a result, it's actually a severe crime, thousands and thousands of dollars in fines, to own bird feathers. But obviously it's not one that's actually convicted on much nowadays. Also, in many places eagle feathers can only be gathered by native tribes. In the entire USA, I believe. My vet worked with the bald eagles. It was just amazing to help them, and we learned a lot from the people that rehabbed them and let them go. She was astounding. But yeah, you cannot pick up bald eagle feathers, you have to contact someone or leave it be. And yes, natives are the only ones usually. Apparently in the Aussie city of Brisbane, sleeping in your car, even if it's due to fatigue, is considered camping in public and thus illegal. Guess I'll just drive while exhausted and hit a fucking building. What jurisdiction are we talking? Because in Singapore, chewing gum is a crime. In Germany, if you run out of fuel on the Autobahn, that's a crime. You can't take a selfie beside a statue of Buddha in Sri Lanka. I hear in some places it's a crime to undercook fish, overcook chicken, or make a dentist appointment and not show up. I've heard you go straight to jail for those. They have the best patients in the world. Because of jail. Putting prescription pills in a daily reminder case? That's literally not an issue, though. You just need to bring the written prescription too if you're flying or something. Evidently, it varies by location. In some jurisdictions in the United States, possession of prescription drugs in a pill organizer is a crime, and people have been prosecuted for it. The legal theory is that since the drug is not in the package, it was dispensed in by the pharmacy, and since it is not in use, for example, swallowed, it is unlawfully possessed. The affirmative defense that the possessor has a valid prescription for the drug in question is not always accepted by the court. That scenario is guilt because you can't prove you are innocent. More and more of these type of laws are being signed. They need to keep the cash coming in. I drive home from work in the middle of the night, and there's one left turn I have to make at a red light every night that is infuriatingly badly timed for that hour. The pharmacy on that corner has been closed up for an hour by the time I get there, and the parking lot is always empty, so driving through that to save myself 45 interminable seconds is as victimless a crime as one can commit, if it even is a crime. Aeta? There's a light on a state road that takes absolutely forever to change, and there's always a huge line waiting to turn left. Right before it is a left turn to a church, I always cut through the church to not have to wait in the line, saves a few minutes. I always feel like I'll get in trouble. I do that with the local corner gas station, unsure if it's actually illegal or if it just feels illegal.